Victor Lavalle's Destroyer, illustrated by Dietrich Smith with Joana Lafuente, is a graphic novel sequel to the Frankenstein story set in the not-too-distant future. This graphic novel engages the historical, political, social, and industrial context of Mary Shelley's novel, but recontextualizes them by resituating them through a contemporary lens that focuses on issues that are important today, including ongoing technological change, such as the rise of artificial intelligence, ecological crisis and environmental concerns, and the ongoing struggle for social justice. The book opens with the creature from Mary Shelley's novel, who has been living in the Arctic for more than 2 centuries. After a series of destructive events, he decides to come back into society, basically to destroy it because he's had enough of it and of mankind, but he decides that he has one last issue that needs to be resolved, and therefore he tracks down, or begins to track down, the last living descendant of his maker and creator, Victor Frankenstein. So this story focuses primarily around the brilliant scientist Josephine Baker, who is the last living descendant of the Frankenstein family and who is following in Victor's footsteps, even though it's from a very different context. She is a grieving mother who lost her young son Akai because he was murdered by police. Through this different take on the traditional mad scientist, this graphic novel asks us to really consider the extent that one will go through when you are grieving in the way that Dr. Baker grieves her son. And it really resituates Victor's vanity in Mary Shelley's original as kind of the rage of grief. So unlike Victor, who, especially by modern standards, is kind of easy to dismiss as not being correct or being ethically wrong, Dr. Joe Baker's situation is much different, and it brings a completely different lens to the Frankenstein and the creation narrative at the center of that story. The graphic novel blends historical events and the fictional world of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein to explore a lot of the same issues that Mary Shelley explores through her own historical lens. We have questions of industrialization, of art, of philosophy, of ethics, of social justice, all retold here as a continuous struggle in humankind's existence. The book's central tensions and overarching tensions are the past, present, and future, their tensions, and the fact that they're always interconnected in ways that make them really hard to distinguish, and really philosophically and ethically at times there's a lot of slippage between them. But in the end, the argument is that we need to know the past and understand it in the present in order to create a better future. A central or repeated question at the end of the book is, who benefits from your ignorance? Calling attention to the point that history is critical in understanding where we are today and where we're going in the future. This is probably the most politically significant adaptation of the Frankenstein culture text that I've ever encountered, and I recommend it to everyone, basically. I think it's a really important book. And not only to Frankenstein's cultural history, which is absolutely the most politically significant adaptation, but also will help us understand how these issues are ongoing in our society and how we can, start to think about ways to create a better future by confronting those tensions and those histories.